I'm 6 feet underground, but I'm breathing heavy.
So the steering angle sensor finally showed up today. Hey, welcome to December 8th. We're putting it in right now in the SCL. That's what this looks like. The kit came with some bizarre items, but most importantly, a new optical disc, which clips in, and a new laser reader thing, which uses Torx 6, tiny little bolts that hold that, screws that hold that in place. So the new parts are in. It comes with some rubber gloves, which I didn't wear. I don't think I needed them. And it came with a hairnet, which is also interesting. I did not wear because I don't think I need a hairnet. And then it came with this weird cylinder thing, which I have no idea what that is for. And then most curiously, it came with insulin. I do not know why a steering angle sensor kit from BMW comes with insulin, or an insulin needle. Weird. So I'm going to put this whole thing back together and then we'll see if anything changes. That's a hell of a sunset. Doing a little bit of testing here. The steering angle sensor worked after being recalibrated, reinstalled and recalibrated. It turned off all the lights and the codes went away. Then I got a weird code for, what is this called? The cruise control switch. So I took everything apart again and took the cruise control switch out and cleaned it up, cleaned the contacts, and then put it back. And then that code went away. So as I install my seatbelt here, all of that goes away. Service is complaining about about needing a brake fluid flush, which it absolutely does. So I've reset everything else that I've done, but I didn't do a brake fluid flush. In fact, kind of requested that I did not, so I'm not going to reset lights for stuff that I didn't do. But the clutch feels awesome. The car drives pretty well. It definitely needs front control arms. The brakes are clunky. I recommended that to him before he drives it back to Orange County, but he declined that since it's going to be in the shop for rod bearings soon. It's just going to let him do them then. The turn signals were not self-canceling since I put this back together for the 5th time. Now they are, which is kind of a nice sign. And I need to get directions to AutoZone. Can you hear that? As I go on and off the brakes, you can hear the whole front end moving around. It's a bit unsettling. So no matter what exhaust system they have, they all sound the same. The muffler delete, the Eisenman, what's the one our friends have in Escondido? It sounded like Inatech or something like that. So they're kind of different volumes, but they're all the exact same tone and the exact same pitch. No matter what exhaust you put on the S85, it makes the same sound. The muffler delete is buzzy, is drony, and is really, really loud. This is still pretty damn loud. I mean, these are stock headers, stock cats, and secondary cats back to, I believe, a factory resonator, and then just Eisenman race mufflers. And it's like 80% as loud as the muffler delete, maybe 85. I tend to like the stock system on these cars. I think they had a nice sound stock, way louder than the E39 M5 stock, kind of like an E39 M5 with all stock exhaust, but Eisenman Sport mufflers. So then that was the stock E60, and then anything you do past that just gets to be really, really loud. So this car had 6-year-old gas in it for a while. Now it's on fresh gas and it's idling way better, nice and smooth. I'm gonna put a couple of miles on it here, unfortunately, right at rush hour here in Escondido. And then I just want to get it back and hook up ISTA again and see if we get any codes returning. But this car was dropped off to me at 137.32, so I'm in 13 miles. We did see a bunch of misfire codes on 8 of the 10 cylinders after the initial drives, but again, that was on 6-year-old fuel and not very much of it at all, and it hadn't run in 6 years. So I kind of think that's why. Also, this clutch is a lot springier than my dad's. I think we might need to re-bleed his again. And something else we've learned on this setup, so this is running the E90
At the lights,
M3.
turn right onto North Escondido Boulevard.
So this is running the E90 M3 flywheel, clutch kit, all of that, and it is all working fine. You know, obviously longevity has yet to be seen. We don't know how it's going to hold up over time, miles, strain and stress, but so far so good. This all feels fantastic. And then this is the stock E60 M5 shift knob, which to me, doesn't feel any different than the 545i shifter we put in my dad's car. Oh man, the M5. The Ultimate Executive Express. Taking that one tonight. I'm going to be working on the road tomorrow from Costa Mesa, so we'll probably use the E60. So this is going to stay here. That is running beautifully with the steering angle sensor. Lars, I cannot give you a big enough thank you for watching these videos, actually listening to me, and then going out of your way to do research and send me parts and be an amazing communicator, and I'm just tickled pink. So you've saved a customer a ton of money and me a ton of money. It took a long time to get here, but such is shipping these days. So what do we got? 6:30 on today's Tuesday? I don't even know what day it is. Let's go home and eat. How about that? Oh, it smells like bread out here. That smells really good. Hey, it's 11:40. We're gonna put Tuesday to bed. I think it's Tuesday. So I got a few clips in today. Very appreciative of Lars sending the steering angle sensor. That seems to be done. So the only things remaining on that car right now are really small things, like the trim around the dead pedal. I need to glue that back on. It was really, really, really loose, and when I took that apart to install the clutch pedal, it fell apart. I'll vacuum out the inside just to be courteous to the customer. I'll wipe down the windows. The rest of the car is filthy. Obviously the car needs paint, so I'm not going to go crazy and take it to a detail bay or anything like that. It's not the service, not any part of the services that I advertise or offer. But it's good to get the car done. We took delivery of the vehicle August 28th. I had estimated a month, but then he had it delivered before we ordered any parts, so that wasn't really fair. We had talked in the beginning, like, let me order the parts and get the parts in-house, and then when I have everything that I think I need, we'll take the car and then figure out what else we need, because there's always going to be more. But he kind of jumped the gun and sent it down early, so it definitely took longer than we thought, but some of these parts just take several weeks to arrive before we can check that off and move on to the next chapter. But definitely big progress today. In other news, the 355 is back. It's had its major service. That is the cam belt or the timing belt service, and the old timing belts are here. So this is what the actual cam belt looks like. I think Ferrari recommends that this is replaced every 3 years or 5,000 miles. And it looks like it says Dayco. D-A-Y-C-O, and then under that S-O-R-A-N. And it's got a number on there, and these are from November 11th, 2015 at 28,000 miles. Now the car's at 36, so 8,000 miles on this belt, which would go in between the camshafts, one per cylinder bank. And they seem to go definitely longer than what the recommended value is. Can't really see very much from this. They're not dry, they're not cracked. I would love to see this next to a new one and see if there's any sort of stretch, although any stretch that you would see would you know, mean that it's a lot, so there's probably some stretch that we can't see, although they're certainly not dried out, they're not cracked, they look pretty good. Then they also replaced the standard drive belts, your serpentine belt and your AC belt. And I'm guessing, due to the length of this one, this is probably the serpentine belt, which is also a Dayco or Dayco, made in Italy, 6 PK 1250 mil. And it doesn't look bad. It's a little dry, but it's not cracked. It's not bad at all, actually. So I'm guessing that's the regular belt and the AC belt. This one's cut, so maybe it was cut to get it off. It's just easier to cut it than it is to remove it. And condition-wise, it looks the same, seeing that it was probably replaced at the same time. So interestingly enough, they did not replace the spark plugs, they did not replace the air filters, but they did replace these coolant hoses, which that definitely looks very constricted from having a hose clamp on it for a long time. It's probably a good call to replace that just based on age. And that's got a bit of a tear in it, so that's why that was replaced. Then there's a big one, probably the same thing, not as bad, close. Oh, hopefully that was not like that when it was in the car. And then, tiny little belt, I'm actually not sure what this one's for. Another Dayco belt. and a little bit dry, and then another coolant hose, same as the other one. So all of that, plus every fluid in the car, oil, AC, power steering, coolant, brake, power steering, all of that fluid is new. And then the car wasn't sounding great because the passenger side exhaust manifold had a crack in it. So that went out of house for repair. They welded that, put it back in the car. I heard it this morning. I was in the shower when the car came home this morning, but from what I hear from Kenan and my dad, it sounds great, super smooth. So that's excellent news. 36,000 miles. We've got a club event coming up either this weekend or the following weekend, so I look forward to that, and it's good to have it back. Anyways, that is the end of Tuesday. Larissa came over tonight. We kind of made dinner and just hung out and talked for a bit. It was a really nice night. I'm going to get to bed. We'll talk tomorrow on hump day.